Hey guys, it's Jennifer with Roots Redefined. Get your passport ready because today we are taking you through Future World East at EPCOT's 2021 International Flower and Garden Festival. Future World East has a couple fun garden destinations and character topiaries to discover. We are going to start this trip with the Outdoor Escapes Garden Destination. This exhibit shows us how easy it is to create your own outdoor space. Whether you have a big backyard or a pint-sized patio, the perfect place for making memories is within easy reach. And if you don't have a lawn, no problem. A tiny turf-free space can easily be transformed into a luxurious outdoor oasis. A garden doesn't need the ground to grow. Pots and planters can host a surprisingly wide variety of plants, from tomatoes to tulips. Almost all plants, edible and ornamental, do well in pots. Some plants even have dwarf varieties which require less space to grow. There are so many ways to be creative with container gardening. Take advantage of vertical space and hang a macrame pot holder. Or create a kokedama garden with moss balls. Some plants don't even need soil. Epiphytes such as certain orchids, bromeliads, and tillandsias can freely hang to almost anything you can imagine. Or try mounting them to a piece of wood, wire, metal, or even glass. And let's not forget about indoor fixtures. They don't have to stay inside. Instead, give them a second life as creative planters. Here they repurpose a yellow tub as a planter. It's full of purple edging lobelia, sweet alyssum, and large beautiful white snowballs of what looks to be either hydrangeas or viburnum. You will also find a stone fountain here with a trailing plant, celosia, and sweet potato vine. If you're looking for a vigorous, fast-growing vine for trailing in pots or in beds, sweet potato vine might just be the ticket. Sweet potato vines are tropical plants that thrive in rich, moist soil. They tolerate a variety of soil pH levels and grow in both full sun and partial shade. The foliage comes in a variety of colors, including chartreuse, purple, bronze, copper, and black. And here's a creative container tip. Scope out your neighborhood on trash day. You'll be surprised how many items considered junk can be repurposed as unique planty containers. I turned an old wood chest that was sitting on the side of the road into a container simply by adding some soil and flowers. It was really simple, and I've received so many compliments on this free planter. You're also helping the environment. Instead of purchasing a new container from a store, reusing what you or your neighbors throw out helps to reduce your carbon footprint. There are a wide variety of plants here, including succulents, edibles, flowering plants, and foliage plants. It can't get any easier than succulents. These plants don't require much care, providing a low-maintenance, colorful addition to any outdoor escape. No green thumb required. Some of the succulents you'll find here include baby sunrose, jade, snake plant, aloe, and mother of thousands. Native to Madagascar, the mother of thousands is an incredibly unusual succulent. Its name comes from the attractive baby plantlets that grow along the edge of its large leaves. One plant, very literally, could be the mother of thousands. Those broad, fleshy leaves are the source of many gardeners' delight. When it comes to propagation, seed is not a viable method for the succulent. Instead, it reproduces when the baby plantlets fall off the main leaf. So all you need to propagate this unique plant are its plantlets. The mother of thousands is perfect for container gardening. In fact, you probably don't want to plant it directly into the ground because it is very prolific. Containing it in a planter is the best way to enjoy the sky. It's also one of the most drought-tolerant plants to grow. So if you're a gardening novice, the succulent is a great beginner's plant for you. We also have many edible and colorful greens in this outdoor escape, including Swiss chard, purple kale, and green and red lettuces. You might also find some tomatoes, celery, corn, and fennel. Fennel is a beautiful herb to have in the garden. Feathery and fern-like, it adds both color and texture to your plantings. It also boasts a strong licorice-like flavor. Fennel is a tender perennial, which means the plant may make it through the winter in warm areas, but it is sensitive to cold. Most gardeners grow fennel as an annual. And it wouldn't be the Flower and Garden Festival without some flowering plants. Here you'll find red sun patience, blanket flowers, pink petunias, yellow wild pansies, orange daisies, and white pentas. Petunias are among the most popular flowering annuals, and for good reason. They are bright and lively, bloom from spring until frost, and scent the air with lovely fragrance. Best of all, petunias are amazingly easy to grow, both in the garden and in containers. There are literally hundreds of varieties. They fall into distinct categories based on flower size and growth habit. Spreading types are fast growers that can fill in large spaces. Some petunias are more suited to container growing, while others are better for massing in the garden. Whether you like the old-fashioned types or the fancier, newer varieties, there truly is something for everyone when it comes to these flowers. The most important requirement for growing them successfully is a location with plenty of light. Many varieties will thrive even if the soil is not rich and have undemanding requirements for watering. Among the foliage plants you'll find here is milk thistle. The milk thistle plant has really neat, interesting foliage. The leaves are variegated with milky white veins. Its purple flower is stunning and is related to the artichoke. This plant is incredibly popular with pollinators, especially birds and bees. Due to its tendency to readily reseed if not harvested, it's earned a reputation as a weed in some areas, but this also makes it perfect for container gardening, as potting the plant will help to prevent it from spreading. We also have a few spiral topiaries here. Spiral topiaries are not just for formal gardens. They can transform a deck, a bed, or a border from just okay to picture perfect without a hint of pretense. Use a pair to frame a vista or to flank a front entrance or garden gate. Planted in large terracotta pots, a pair can add pop to the corners of a garden. And here's a tip. Every outdoor oasis benefits from helpful insects like butterflies and native bees. Encourage them to visit your oasis by planting a pollinator garden full of native wildflowers. Include water features and windbreaks to keep these beneficial pollinators in your outdoor oasis. Now, an issue I've heard specifically with urban gardening in small spaces, such as rooftops and balconies, is not having an easily attainable source of water. If you don't have a water source nearby, try harvesting rainwater. You can create your own rain barrel or buy one. I have one that I purchased online and it's great. They come in various sizes, so regardless of how small your space is, there is probably one that will work for you. There are so many benefits to harvesting rainwater. Rainwater is better for your plants. It tends to be way more pure than tap water, city, or well. Rain contains few salts, minerals, treatment chemicals, or pharmaceuticals often found in municipal tap water. You're also helping the environment by conserving groundwater, saving the energy required for tap water, and limiting stormwater runoff. And as a bonus, it'll keep more money in your pocket by reducing your water bill. Now let's head over to our second garden destination, Prehistoric Plants. This garden destination is extra exciting to check out because it's brand new to EPCOT this year. Millions of years ago, dinosaurs roamed vast coniferous forests filled with ancient plants. Over millennia of geological change, these prehistoric plants transformed into the coal and oil we use as fuel today. The first land plants appeared before the dinosaurs about 350 to 400 million years ago and included mosses, horsetails, and ferns. Seed-bearing plants including conifers and cycads dominated the Triassic and Jurassic periods about 200 million years ago. This is also when the first dinosaurs appeared. The Cretaceous period, about 140 million years ago, which followed, saw an expansion of options with flowering plants becoming dominant, including magnolias and palms. These flowering plants were around before bees existed, so beetles pollinated them instead. So why are these plants so cool? Think about what they have been through. Time has subjected these plants to meteor impacts that set the atmosphere on fire, and mega volcanic eruptions that buried huge swaths of continents in ash. The randomness of the Earth's geologic activity has launched these plants on continents that drifted apart, and then sometimes violently collided back together, causing huge mountain ranges to form. The composition of the atmosphere has changed many times over, and has the chemistry of the oceans. There have been periods of hot and dry, hot and wet, and ice ages that crept into the continents with sheets of ice a mile deep. And think about this. Over the course of hundreds of millions of years, imagine just how many pests and pathogens have come, taken their crack at the code of prehistoric plant defenses, failed, and then disappeared into one of the extinctions. Yet miraculously, these plants continue to carry on. It just makes sense that most of the prehistoric plants available in garden centers are going to be the least problematic when you take them home. Some of the plants you'll find here include the Australian tree fern, the cardboard plant, and the king sago. The king sago is dark green and lush with sturdy foliage. It grows slowly when confined to a pot and is also a favorite choice for bonsai. Gardeners located within or north of hardiness zone 8A should grow these ancient wonders in pots and bring them indoors in the winter. And those of us in zones 8A to 11B can enjoy them in our landscape year-round. Each sago palm is either male or female. In late spring, males may produce a 12 to 24 inch tall cone, whereas females produce a leaf structure resembling a basket that produces ovules. The basket opens when the plant is ready to be fertilized by pollen from the male, carried by wind or insects. Keep in mind that sago palms may take over a decade to reach maturity and bloom for the first time. While here, you might also notice the sundew, autumn fern, Norfolk pine, and spike moss while strolling through this Prehistoric Plants garden destination. As the name suggests, the Norfolk pine is native to the island of Norfolk, a tiny island near New Zealand. In its native habitat, it will easily reach more than 100 feet tall. Thankfully, they don't surprise you with explosive growth when potted. After a decade, the tree may reach 5 to 8 feet tall as a houseplant. However, many people prune them to keep them under 3 feet tall indoors. The biggest advantage of a Norfolk Island pine is that it can grow indoors. They make great tabletop trees for offices, apartments, or anywhere space does not allow a larger tree. They also prefer to be a bit pot-bound, meaning they do not require repotting every year. Repotting into a slightly larger container with a well-drained commercial potting mix about every 4 years should be adequate. They also prefer bright, mostly indirect light from eastern or western windows. Provided that the tree is properly placed and watered, Norfolk Island pines are fairly easy to maintain, preferring more neglect than nurture. Sundews are really neat too. They are carnivorous plants with an ingenious way to catch their prey. They have sticky pads that trap insects. The plants are also attractive, often brightly colored rosettes. Growing sundews is common in terrariums or other warm, moist areas that mimic their natural swampy habitat. If you're looking for an unusual garden theme, and one that is especially fun for children, try creating a primitive plant and dinosaur garden. Mosses and ferns are great for shaded areas in this type of garden. Elevate some containerized ferns on pedestals for an interesting variation. And ginkgo trees and cycads are great for those sunnier areas. Asparagus ferns, junipers, and horsetails can also be used in a prehistoric garden design. Horsetails spread rapidly, so sink a container into the soil for plants such as these. This allows you to use the plant in your garden and keeps it from getting out of bounds. And don't forget to add some hardscape sculptures, such as the dinosaurs that once dined on these ancient plants. And now let's visit some character topiaries. One of my favorite topiary destinations is Bambi and Friends Wildlife Habitat. Not only because Bambi, Thumper, and Flower are so stinking cute, but because of the landscaping, which uses many Florida native plants. The landscaping here proves that you can create a beautiful bed using plants that naturally thrive in your backyard. Throughout the year, people across the country plant a wide variety of plants to improve their landscaping. However, most don't know how landscaping with native plants can benefit their garden and environment. These plants have evolved over the years to the habitat they live in, giving you great benefits and a reason to plant them. Since native plants are accustomed to their habitat, they are able to hold water better than non-native plants, which will in return save you significant amounts of water. They can adapt to the typical amount of precipitation an area receives. Preserving water leads to lower water expenses and increased savings. Indigenous plants are typically more resistant to disease, drought, and other environmental risks than other plants. They can spread quickly to crowd out any weeds, which means less maintenance and upkeep for you. Many native plants grow in such a fashion that protects the soil from being flooded with water. This means landscaping with them will keep the soil rich and allow these plants to flourish in the environment. By landscaping with native plants in your yard, you're contributing to a natural habitat for the animals that reside in the area. These plants typically produce fruit, nectar, nuts, and seeds, which provide a natural source of food for many birds and animals. In some areas, large amounts of wildlife depend on these plants and other natural sources to survive. Another great benefit is because they are adapted to the specific climate of the region, native plants can defend themselves against indigenous insects, fungi, and disease. So instead of spraying the plants with artificial pesticides, they have a natural built-in defense system to protect themselves. By not having to use pesticides on your plants, you're saving time, money, and helping to not pollute your environment and not causing damage to other plants. So now let's discuss the arrangement we have here. I love this planting bed. The combination of colorful flowering plants with foliage plants of varying heights and textures will capture your attention and also ensures you have something to enjoy year-round. Here we have purple orb-shaped verbena, pink globe amaranth, and tickseed. Tickseed is a Florida native plant that is prized by many gardeners for the bright colors of their flowers and their ability to put up with most garden soils. There are over 100 species available and countless hybrids, including both annuals and perennials. Most of them are low maintenance, drought tolerant, and enjoy a long blooming season, generally from early summer to fall, or even longer if deadheaded. Birds feast on their seeds and butterflies love their nectar. Workhorses in sunny borders, these American native prairie plants also make excellent cut flowers. A few varieties of tick seed include the Helliot, which features flowers with a burgundy ring around the center disc, the lance leaf with deep yellow flowers, and the moonbeam with buttery yellow flowers and thread-like wisps of green foliage that soften the look of any garden. Mixed in with the flowers is red fountain grass and saw palmetto. Saw palmetto is another Florida native. It grows wild in Florida's natural areas, but it's also a useful plant for home landscapes throughout the state. This plant tolerates a range of conditions and provides wonderful textural interest, and it's highly salt tolerant, making it ideal for coastal gardening. Saw palmetto is a relatively maintenance-free shrub that also works well as a privacy hedge. It's a slow-growing, clumping, multi-trunked palm that typically grows 5 to 10 feet tall and spreads 4 to 10 feet wide. It offers cover for a variety of wildlife, providing shelter from predators and a place to raise their young. The beautiful yet rugged palmate-shaped leaves have been utilized for roofing and create matting for floors. While most forms have green leaves, leaf color is variable, with silver to blue-silver forms common on the east coast of Florida. In the spring, flower stalks appear. Bees are attracted by these flowers, making high-grade saw palmetto honey. The flowers are followed by small yellow berries that turn black and ripen. The berries are an important food source for many mammals and birds. And our final stop is to infinity and beyond. Here we have the popular Buzz Lightyear topiary. Buzz is in a planting bed loaded with one of my favorite flowers, the Celosia. Celosias, commonly known as wallflowers, are one of the most eye-catching annuals to grow in the garden. They look like they're from a Dr. Seuss book. Producing upright ruffled flowers in shades of red, purple, pink, and yellow, the Celosia is one of the most distinctive ornamental flowers you will see in a garden. You'll find 3 general types of Celosia for growing: coxcomb, wheat, and plumed, which is what we have here. Despite its exotic appearance, Celosia is actually pleasingly easy to grow. It's also resistant to most pests and other obnoxious problems. As long as you provide the sunlight it needs and don't keep it oversaturated, these flowers will provide long-lasting color. And many people don't know this, but the leaves are actually edible, having a taste similar to spinach. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you might want to check out my flower and garden video on Future World West. So that's all we have for you today. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. This is Jennifer with Roots Redefined. I'll see you again real soon.